While Pharaoh's army was swallowed up by the sea, Israel was led to the other side through God's Passover. Israel would compose a song in Exodus 15. Then Moses and the children of Israel sang this song to Yahweh and said,
I will sing to Yahweh, for he has triumphed gloriously. He has thrown the horse and his rider into the sea. Yah is my strength and song. He has become my salvation. This is my God and I will praise him. My Father's God and I will exalt him. Sing to Yahweh, for he has triumphed gloriously. He has thrown the horse and his rider into the sea. Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea. His chosen captains are sunk in the Red Sea. The deep covers them. They went down into the depths like a stone. Your right hand, Yahweh, is glorious in power. Your right hand, Yahweh, dashes the enemies in pieces. Greatness of your excellency, you overthrow those who rise up against you. You send out your wrath, it consumes them as stubble. With the blast of your nostrils, the waters were piled up. The flood stood upright as a heap. The deeps were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the plunder. My desire will be satisfied on them. I will draw my sword, my hand will destroy them. You blew with your wind, the seas covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, Yahweh, among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. You in your loving kindness have led the people that you have redeemed. You have guided them in your strength to your holy habitation. The people have heard, they tremble. Pangs have taken hold of the inhabitants of Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom were dismayed. Trembling takes hold of the mighty men of Moab. All the inhabitants of Canaan have melted away. Terror and dread fall on them by the greatness of your arm. They are still a stone until your people pass over, Yahweh. Until the people you have purchased pass over. You will bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, the place, Yahweh, which you have made for yourself to dwell in, the sanctuary, Lord, which your hands have established. Yahweh will reign forever and ever.
Sing to Yahweh, for he has triumphed gloriously. He has thrown the horse and his rider into the sea. Yah is my strength and song. has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him. My Father's God, and I will exalt him.
Father, why are those men carrying that box?
O son, in that box are the bones of a great man who lived nearly 430 years ago. His name is Joseph.
Joseph, one of the patriarchs of Israel?
Yes,
But why are we carrying his bones?
well, because Joseph knew that God would one day visit us. And Joseph said, "When that time comes, carry me out of Egypt with you."
Exodus 13:19. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph made the sons of Israel solemnly swear, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones with you from here.
This man was once a great ruler in all of Egypt, second in command to Pharaoh, but his beginnings were not so from the start.
What happened to Joseph?
Well, it all started when Joseph had a dream.
A dream?
Yes, son, a dream. It all started with a dream.
Jacob lived in the land of his father's travels, in the land of Canaan. This is the history of the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was beating a flock with his brothers. He was a boy with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wife. Joseph brought an evil report of them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. His brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, and they hated him and couldn't speak peacefully to him. Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brothers, and they hated him all the more. He said to them,
Please, hear this dream, which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheep arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves came around, and bowed down to my sheep.
His brothers said to him,
Will you indeed reign over us? Or will you indeed have dominion over us?
They hated him all the more for his dreams and for his words. He dreamed yet another dream and told his brothers and said,
Behold, I have dreamed yet another dream, and behold, the sun and the moon and 11 stars bow down to me.
He told it to his father and to his brothers. His father rebuked him and said to him,
What is this dream that you have dreamed? Will I and your mother and your brothers indeed come down to bow ourselves down to you to the earth?
His brothers envied him, but his father kept this saying in mind. His brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. Israel said to Joseph,
Aren't your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send you to them.
He said to him.
I am here.
He said to him,
Go, now, see whether it is well with your brothers, and well with the flock, and bring me word again.
So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron. And he came to Shechem. A certain man found him. And behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying,
What are you looking for?
He said,
I am looking for my brothers. Tell me, please, where they are feeding the flock.
The man said,
They have left here, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan.
Joseph went after his brothers and found them and Dothan. They saw him afar off, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. They said to one another,
Behold, this dreamer comes. Come, now, therefore, and let's kill him, and cast him into one of the pits. And we will say, An evil animal has devoured him. We will see what will become of his dreams.
Reuben heard it and delivered him out of their hands and said,
Let's not take his life.
Reuben said to them,
Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit that is in the wilderness, but lay no hand on him.
that he might deliver him out of their hand, to restore them to his father. When Joseph came to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his coat, the coat of many colors that was on him, and they took him and threw him into the pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. They sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and saw a caravan of the Ishmaelites was coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers,
What profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and not let our hand be on him, for he is our brother, our flesh.
His brothers listened to him. Midianites, who were the merchants, passed by, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. They brought Joseph into Egypt. Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph wasn't in the pit, and he tore his clothes. He returned to his brothers and said,
The child is no more, and where will I go?
They took Joseph's coat and killed a male goat and dipped the coat in the blood. They took the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said,
We have found this, examine it. Now, whether it is your son's coat or not.
He recognized it and said,
It is my son's coat. An evil animal has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn into pieces.
Jacob tore his clothes and put sackcloth on his loins and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. He said,
For I will go down to Shiloh, to my son's mourning.
The Midianites sold him into Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, the captain of the guard. Joseph was brought down to Egypt. Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him from the hand of the Ishmaelites. Yahweh was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. He was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. His master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did prosper in his hand. Joseph found favor in his sight. He ministered to him, and he made him an overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. It happened from the time that he made him an overseer in his house, and over all the land he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was on all that he had, in the house and in the field. He left all that he had in Joseph's hand. He didn't concern himself with anything except for the food which he ate. Joseph was well built and handsome. And it happened after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph, and she said,
Lie with me.
But he refused and said to his master's wife,
Behold, my master doesn't know what is with me in this house, and he has put all that he has into my hand. He isn't greater in this house than I, neither has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
It happened that as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he didn't listen to her, to lie by her, or to be with her. It happened about this time that he went into the house to do his work, and there were none of the men of the house inside. She called him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." He left his garment in her hand and ran outside. It happened when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and had run outside, that she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying,
Behold, he has brought in a Hebrew to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. It happened, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment by me and ran outside.
She laid up his garment by her until her master came. She spoke to him according to these words, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you have brought to us came to me to mock me, and it happened that as I lifted up my voice and cried, then he had left his garment by me and ran outside." It happened when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spoke to him, saying, "This is what your servant did to me," that his wrath was kindled. Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the custody. But Yahweh was with Joseph and showed kindness to him and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. The keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison didn't look after anything that was under his hand, because Yahweh was with him, and that which he did, Yahweh made it prosper. Genesis 39. It happened after these things that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker offended their lord, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry against his two officers, against the chief of the butlers, and against the chief of the bakers. He put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he took care of them. They stayed in prison many days. They both dreamed a dream, each man his dream in one night, each man accordingly to the interpretation of this dream. The butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were bound in the prison. Joseph came into them in the morning and saw them, and saw that they were sad. He asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in custody in his master's house, saying,
"Why do you look so sad today?"
They said to him,
"We have dreamed a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it."
Joseph said to them,
"Don't interpretations belong to God? Please, tell it to me."
The chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said to him,
"In my dream, behold, a vine was in front of me, and in the vine were 3 branches. It was as though it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and the clusters of it brought forth ripe grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand."
Joseph said to him,
"This is your interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 more days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your office. You will get Pharaoh's cup into his hand, the way you did when you were his butler. But remember me when it'll be well with you, and show kindness to me, please. And make mention of me to Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me in the dungeon."
When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph,
"I also was in my dream, and behold,
3 baskets of white bread were on my head. In the uttermost basket, there were all kinds of baked food for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket upon my head.
Joseph answered,
This is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 more days, Pharaoh will lift up your head from off you and will hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh from off you.
It happened the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast for all the servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and the head of the chief baker among his servants. He restored the chief butler to his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph has interpreted to them. Yet the chief butler didn't remember Joseph, but forgot him. Genesis 40. It happened at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed. And behold, he stood by the river. Behold, there came up out of the river 7 cattle, well favored and fat fleshed, and they fed in the reed grass. Behold, 7 other cattle came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other cattle on the brink of the river. The ill-favored and lean-fleshed cattle ate up the 7 well-favored and fat cattle. So Pharaoh awoke. He slept and dreamed a second time, and behold, 7 ears of grain came up on one stalk, rank and good. Behold, 7 ears thin and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. The thin ears swallowed up the 7 rank and full ears. Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. They happened in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men of it. Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was no one who can interpret them to Pharaoh. Then the chief butler spoke to Pharaoh, saying,
I remember my faults today. Pharaoh was angry with his servants and put me in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, me and the chief baker. We dreamed a dream in one night. I and he, we dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. There was with us a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard, and we told him, and he interpreted to us our dream. To each man according to his dream, he did interpret. It happened, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored to my office, and him he hanged.
Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. He shaved himself, changed his clothing, and came to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph,
I have dreamed a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. I have heard it said of you, that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it.
Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying,
It isn't me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace.
Pharaoh spoke to Joseph.
In my dream, behold, I stood on the brink of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 cattle, fat-fleshed and well-favored. They fed in the reed grass, and behold, 7 other cattle came up after them, poor and very ill-favored, and lean flesh, such as I never saw in the land of Egypt for badness. The lean and ill-favored cattle ate up the first 7 fat cattle, and when they had eaten them up, it couldn't be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored, as at the beginning. So I awoke. I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up on one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears, withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. The thin ears swallowed up the 7 good ears. I told it to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me.
Joseph said to Pharaoh,
The dream of Pharaoh is one. What God is about to do, he has declared to Pharaoh. The 7 good cattle are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. The 7 lean and ill-favored cattle that came up after them are 7 years, and also the 7 empty ears, blasted with the east wind. They will be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I spoke to Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he has shown to Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. There will arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will consume the land, and the plenty will not be known in the land by reason of that famine which follows, for it will be very grievous. The dream was trouble to Pharaoh, because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore, let Pharaoh look for a discreet and wise man, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint overseers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt's produce in the 7 plenteous years. Let them gather all the food of these good years that come, and lay up grain under the hand of Pharaoh for food in the cities, and let them keep it. The food will be for a store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which will be in the land of Egypt, that the land not perish through the famine.
The thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants. Pharaoh said to his servants,
Can we find such as one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God?
Pharaoh said to Joseph,
Because God has shown you all of this, there is no one so discreet and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and according to your word with all my people be ruled. Only in the throne I will be greater than you.
Pharaoh said to Joseph,
Behold, I have set you over all the land of Egypt.
Pharaoh took off his signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in robes of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the 2nd chariot which he had. They cried before him, Bow the knee. He set him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh said to Joseph,
I am Pharaoh, and without you shall no man lift up his hand or his foot in all the land of Egypt.
Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath-Paneah, and he gave him Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, as a wife. Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh, and he went throughout all the land of Egypt. In the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. He gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. The food of the field, which was round about every city, he laid up in the same. Joseph laid up grain, as the sand of the sea, very much, until he stopped counting, for it was without number. To Joseph were born 2 sons before the year of famine came, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for he said, God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. The name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. The 7 years of plenty that was in the land of Egypt came to an end. The 7 years of famine began to come, just as Joseph has said. There was famine in all the land, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. When all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph. What he says to you, do." The famine was over all the surface of the earth. Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians. The famine was severe in the land of Egypt. All countries came into Egypt to Joseph to buy grain, because the famine was severe in all the earth. Genesis 41. Now Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt. And Jacob said to his sons,
"Why do you look at one another?"
He said,
"Behold, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt, and buy for us from there, so that we may live and not die."
Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt, but Jacob didn't send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with his brothers, for he said, "Lest perhaps harm befall him." The sons of Israel came to buy. Among those who came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan, Joseph was the governor over all the land. It was he who sold to all the people of the land. Joseph's brothers came and bowed themselves down to him with their faces to the earth. Joseph saw his brothers, and he recognized them, but acted like a stranger to them, and spoke roughly with them. He said to them,
"Where do you come from?"
They said,
"From the land of Canaan to buy food."
Joseph recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. Joseph remembered the dream which he had dreamed about them, and said to them,
"You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land."
They said to him,
"No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's sons. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies."
He said to them,
"No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land."
They said,
"We, your servants, are 12 brothers, the son of one man in the land of Canaan. Behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is no more."
Joseph said to them,
"It is like I told you, saying you are spies. Hereby you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh you shall not go forth from here, unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you, and let him get your brother, and you shall be bound, that your words may be tested, whether there is truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies."
He put them all together into custody 3 days. Joseph said to them the third day,
"Do this, and live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, then let one of your brothers be bound in your prison house. But you go, carry grain for the famine of your houses. Bring your youngest brother to me, so will your words be verified, and you won't die."
They did so. They said one to another,
"We are most assuredly guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the distress of his soul, when he begged us, and we wouldn't listen. Therefore, this distress has come on us."
Reuben answered them, saying,
"Didn't I tell you, saying, 'Don't sin against the child'? And you wouldn't listen. Therefore also, behold, his blood is required."
They didn't know that Joseph understood them, for there was an interpreter between them. He turned himself about from them and wept, and he returned to them and spoke to them, and took Simeon from among them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph commanded to fill their vessels with grain, and to restore every man's money into its sack, and to give them provisions for the way. Thus was it done to them. They loaded their donkeys with their grain, and departed from there. As one of them opened his sack to give his donkey food in the lodging place, he saw his money. Behold, it was in the mouth of his sack. He said to his brothers,
My money is restored. Behold, it is even my sack.
Their hearts failed them, and they turned trembling one to another, saying,
What is this that God has done to us?
They came to Jacob their father to the land of Canaan, and told him all that had befallen them, saying,
The man, the Lord of the land, spoke roughly with us, and he took us for spies of the country. We said to him, We are honest men. We are no spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. The man, the Lord of the land, said to us, Hereby will I know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for the famine of your houses, and go your way. Bring your youngest brother to me. Then will I know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. So will I deliver you, your brother, and you shall trade in the land.
It happened, as they emptied their sacks, that behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. When they and their father saw their bundle of money, they were afraid. Jacob, their father, said to them,
You have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more. Simeon is no more, and you want to take Benjamin away. All these things are against me.
Reuben spoke to his father, saying,
Kill my 2 sons if I don't bring him to you. Deliver him into my hand, and I will bring him to you again.
He said,
My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he only is left. If harm befalls him by the way in which you go, then you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Shiloh.
Genesis 43. The famine was severe in the land. It happened when they had eaten up the grain which they had brought out of Egypt. Their father said to them,
Go again, buy us a little food.
Judah spoke to him, saying,
The man solemnly warned us, saying, You shall not see my face, unless your brother is with you. If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, You shall not see my face unless your brother is with you.
Israel said,
Why do you treat me so badly, telling the man that you had another brother?
They said,
The man asked us directly concerning ourselves and concerning our relatives, saying, Is your father still alive? Have you another brother? We just answered his questions. Is there any way we could have known that he would say, Bring your brother down?
Judah said to Israel his father,
Send the boy with me, and we will arise and go, so that we may live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. I will be collateral for him. From my hand will you require him. If I don't bring him to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. For unless we have lingered, surely we would have returned a second time by now.
Their father, Israel, said to them,
If it be so now, do this. Take from the choice fruits of the land in your vessels, and carry down a present for the man, a little balm, a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds, and take double money in your hand. With the money that was returned in the mouth of your sacks, carry again in your hand. Perhaps it was an oversight. Take also your brother, and arise, go again to the man. May God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may release to you your other brother and Benjamin. If I am bereaved of my children, I am bereaved.
The men took that present, and they took double money in their hand. And Benjamin and arose up, went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house,
Bring the man into the house, and butcher an animal, and make ready, for the men will dine with me at noon.
The man did as Joseph commanded, and the man brought the men to Joseph's house. The men were afraid because they were brought to Joseph's house. And they said,
Because of the money that was returned in our sack at the first time, are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us, and fall on us, and take us for bondservants, along with our donkeys.
They came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they spoke to him at the door of the house, and said,
Oh, my lord, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it happened, when we came to the lodging place, that we opened our sacks. And behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. We have brought it again in our hand. Other money have we brought down in our hand to buy food. We don't know who put our money in our sacks.
He said,
Peace be to you. Don't be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sack. I received your money.
He brought Simeon out to them. The man brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet. He gave their donkeys provisions. They made ready the present for Joseph's coming at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. When Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed themselves down to him to the earth. He asked them of their welfare and said,
Is your father well? The old man whom you spoke, is he yet alive?
They said,
Your servant, our father is well. He is still alive.
They bowed the head and did homage. He lifted up his eyes and saw Benjamin, his brother, his mother's son, and said,
Is this your brother, of whom you spoke to me?
He said,
God be gracious to you, my son.
Joseph made haste, for his heart yearned over his brothers, and he sought a place to weep. And he entered into his room and wept there. He washed his face and came out. He controlled himself and said,
Serve the meal.
They served him by himself, and them by themselves, and the Egyptians that ate with him by themselves, because the Egyptians don't eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination to the Egyptians. They sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one with another. He sent portions to them from before him, but Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs. They drank and were merry with him. Genesis 43. He commanded the steward of his house, saying,
Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth. Put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, with his grain money.
He did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys. When they had gone out of the city and were not yet far off, Joseph said to his steward,
Up, follow after the men. When you overtake them, tell them, Why have you rewarded evil for good? Isn't this that from which my Lord drinks? And whereby he indeed divines, you have done evil in so doing.
He overtook them, and he spoke to them these words. They said to him,
Why does my Lord speak such words as these? Far be it from your servants that they should do such a thing. Behold, the money, which we found in our sack's mouth, we brought again to you out of the land of Canaan. How then should we steal silver or gold out of your Lord's house? With whoever of your servants it be found, let him die, and we also will be my Lord's bondservants.
Now also let it be according to your words. He with whom it is found will be my bondservant, and you will be blameless.
Then they hurried and took down every man his sack to the ground, and opened every man his sack. He searched, beginning with the eldest, and ending at the youngest. The cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore their clothes, and loaded every man his donkey, and returned to the city. Judah and his brother came to Joseph's house, and he was still there. They fell on the ground before him. Joseph said to them,
What deed is this that you have done? Don't you know that such a man as I can indeed divine?
Judah said,
What will we tell, my lord? What will we speak? Or how will we clear ourselves? God has found out the iniquity of your servants. Behold, we are my lord's bondservants, both we and he also, in whose hand the cup is found.
He said,
Far be it from me that I should do so. The man in whose hand the cup is found, he will be my bondservant. But as for you, go in peace to your father.
Then Judah came near to him and said,
Oh, my lord, please let your servant speak a word in my lord's ear, and don't let your anger burn against your servant, for you are even as Pharaoh. My lord asked his servants, saying, Have you a father or a brother? We said to my lord, We have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one. And his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother, and his father loves him. You said to your servants, Bring him down to me, that I may set my eyes on him. We said to my lord, The boy can't leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die. You said to your servants, Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you will see my face no more. It happened, when we came up to your servant, my father, we told him the words of my lord. Our father said, Go, again, buy us a little food. We said, We can't go down. If our youngest brother isn't with us, then we will go down, for we may not see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us. Your servant, my father, said to us, You know that my wife bore me 2 sons, and the one went out from me. And I said, Surely he is torn into pieces, and I haven't seen him since. If you take this one also from me, and harm befalls him, you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Shiloh. Now therefore, when I come to your servant my father, and the boy is not with us, seeing that his life is bound up in the boy's life, it will happen, when he sees that the boy is no more, then he'll die. Your servants will bring down the gray hairs of your servant, our father, with sorrow to Shiloh. For your servant became collateral for the boy to my father, saying, If I don't bring him to you, then I will bear the blame to my father forever. Now, therefore, please, let your servant stay instead of the boy, a bondservant to my lord, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how will I go to my father if the boy isn't with me, lest I see the evil that will come on my father?
Genesis 45. Then Joseph couldn't control himself before all those who stood before him, and he cried,
Cause every man to go out from me.
There stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. He wept out loud. The Egyptians heard, and the house of Pharaoh heard. Joseph said to his brothers,
I am Joseph. Does my father still live?
His brothers couldn't answer him, for they were terrified at his presence. Joseph said to his brothers,
Come, near to me, please.
They came near. He said,
I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now don't be grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years has the famine been in the land, and there are yet 5 more years, in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. God sent me before you to preserve you a remnant in the earth, and to save you alive by a great deliverance. So now it wasn't you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me a father to Pharaoh, Lord of all this house, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Hurry, and go to my father and tell him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me Lord to all of Egypt. Come down to me. Don't wait. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you will be near to me, you, your children, your children's children, your flocks, your herds, and all that you have. There I will nourish you, for there are yet 5 more years of famine, lest you come to poverty, you and your household, and all that you have. Behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaks to you. You should tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that you have seen. You shall hurry and bring my father down here.
He fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. He kissed all of his brothers and wept on them. After that his brothers talked with him. The report of it was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying,
Joseph's brothers have come.
It pleased Pharaoh well and his servants. Pharaoh said to Joseph,
Tell your brothers, do this. Load your animals and go travel to the land of Canaan. Take your father and your households and come to me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt, and you'll eat the fat of the land. Now you are commanded, do this. Take wagons out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also, don't concern yourself about your belongings, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours.
The sons of Israel did so. Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provisions for the way. To all of them he gave each man changes of clothing. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothing. To his father he sent after this manner 10 donkeys laden with the good things of Egypt, and 10 she-asses laden with grain and bread and provision for his father by the way. So he sent his brothers away, and they departed. He said to them,
See that you don't quarrel on the way.
They went out of Egypt and came into the land of Canaan to Jacob their father. They told him, saying,
Joseph is alive, and he is ruler over all of Egypt.
His heart fainted, for he didn't believe them. They told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said to them. When he saw the wagons, which Joseph sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, revived. Israel said,
It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die.
Genesis 45. Israel took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices to God of his father Isaac. God spoke to Israel in the vision of the night, and said,
Jacob, Jacob.
He said,
Here I am.
He said,
I am the God of your father. Don't be afraid to go down into Egypt, for there I'll make of you a great nation. I will go down with you into Egypt. I also will bring you up again. Joseph will close your eyes.
Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob, their father, their little one, and their wives, in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They took their cattle and their goods, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt. Jacob and all this seed with him, his sons and his sons' sons, with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all this seed was brought he with him, into Egypt. The sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, who came into Egypt, were 70. He sent Judah before him to Joseph, to show him the way before him to Goshen. And they came into the land of Goshen. Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to meet Israel, his father, in Goshen. He presented himself to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while. Israel said to Joseph,
Now let me die, since I have seen your face, that you are still alive.
Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's house,
I will go up and speak with Pharaoh, and will tell him, my brothers and my father's house, who were in the land of Canaan, have come to me. These men are shepherds, for they have been keepers of cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. It will happen when Pharaoh summons you and will say, what is your occupation? That you shall say, your servants have been keepers of cattle from our youth even until now, both we and our fathers, that you may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians.
Then Joseph went in and told Pharaoh and said,
My father and my brothers, with their flocks, their herds, and all that they own, have come out of the land of Canaan, and, behold, they are in the land of Goshen.
From among his brothers he took 5 men and presented them to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to his brothers,
What is your occupation?
They said to Pharaoh,
Your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers.
They said to Pharaoh,
We have come to sojourn in the land, for there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, please, let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen.
Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying,
Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Make your father and your brothers dwell in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. If you know any able men among them, then put them in charge of my cattle.
Joseph brought in Jacob, his father, and set him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob,
How many are the days of your years of your life?
Jacob said to Pharaoh,
The days of my years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained to the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage.
Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from the presence of Pharaoh. Joseph placed his father and his brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. Joseph nourished his father, his brothers, and all of his father's household with bread according to their families. There was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the grain which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. When the money was all spent in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said,
Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For our money fails.
Joseph said,
Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle, if money fails.
They brought their cattle to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for the horses and for their flocks and for the herds, and for the donkeys, and he fed them with bread in exchange for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came to him the second year, and said to him,
We will not hide from my lord how our money is all spent, and the herds of cattle are my lord's. There is nothing left in the sight of my lord, but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants to Pharaoh. Give us seed, that we may live and not die, and that the land won't be desolate.
So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine was severe on them, and the land became Pharaoh's. As for the people, he moved them to the cities, from one end of the border of Egypt even to the other end of it. Only he didn't buy the land of the priest, for the priest had a portion from Pharaoh, and ate their portion which Pharaoh gave them. That is why they didn't sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people,
Behold, I have bought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Behold, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. It will happen at the harvest that you shall give a fifth to Pharaoh, and 4 parts will be your own, for seed of the field, for your food, for them of your households, and for food for your little ones.
They said,
You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants.
Joseph made it a statute concerning the land of Egypt to this day, that Pharaoh should have the fifth. Only the land of the priest alone didn't become Pharaoh's. Israel lived in the land of Egypt and the land of Goshen, and they got themselves possession therein, and were fruitful, and multiplied exceedingly. Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147 years. The time drew near that Israel must die, and he called his son Joseph, and said to him,
If now I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Please, don't bury me in Egypt. But when I sleep with my fathers, you shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burying place.
He said,
I will do as you have said.
He said,
Swear to me.
And he swore to him. Israel bowed himself on the bed's head. It happened, after these things, that one said to Joseph,
Behold, your father is sick.
When Jacob made an end of charging his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed and yielded up the spirit, and was gathered to his people. Joseph fell on his father's face, wept on him, and kissed him. Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father, and the physicians embalmed Israel. 40 days were fulfilled for him, for that is how many the days it takes to embalm. The Egyptians wept for him for 70 days. When the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke to the house of Pharaoh, saying,
If now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, Behold, I am dying. Bury me in my grave which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, please, let me go up and bury my father, and I will come again.
Pharaoh said,
Go up and bury your father, just like he made you swear.
Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, all the elders of the land of Egypt, all the house of Joseph, his brothers, and his father's house, all their little ones, their flocks and their herds, they left in the land of Goshen. There went up with him both chariots and horsemen. It was a very great company. They came to the threshing floor of Adad, which is beyond the Jordan, and there they lamented with a very great and sore lamentation. He mourned for his father 7 days. When the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Adad, they said, "This is a grievous mourning by the Egyptians." Therefore, the name of it was called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond the Jordan. His sons did to him just as he commanded them, for his sons carried him into the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Mahapala, which Abraham bought with the field, for a possession of a burying place, from Ephron the Hittite before Mamre. Joseph returned into Egypt, he and his brothers, and all that went up with him to bury his father. After he had buried his father, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said,
It may be that Joseph will hate us and will fully pay us back for all the evil which we did to him.
They sent a message to Joseph, saying, "Your father commanded before he died, saying, so will you tell Joseph, now please forgive the disobedience of your brothers and their sin, because they did this evil to you. Now please forgive the disobedience of the servants of the God of your father." Joseph wept when they spoke to him. His brothers also went and fell down before his face, and they said,
Behold, we are your servants.
Joseph said to them,
Don't be afraid, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring to pass, as it is to this day, to save many people alive. Now therefore, don't be afraid. I will nurse you and your little ones.
He comforted them and spoke kindly to them. Joseph lived in Egypt, he and his father's house. Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the 3rd generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were born on Joseph's knee. Joseph said to his brothers,
I am dying, but God will surely visit you and bring you up out of this land to the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob.
Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying,
God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here.
So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him and was put in a coffin in Egypt.